Auditor Zorath stood before the hourglass in the Grand Archive. Its sapphire sands had measured 100 young civilizations, none remarkable. A council order chimed, "Audit Earth." Classify Tier 5, provide justification for trade restrictions.
Another fledgling species to be boxed into a tier. The Council's politics never changed.
Zorath opened the assessment framework. Personal misgivings were a luxury he could no longer afford. The request to Earth was brief. Submit unfalsified civilizational records. No deviation permitted.
Humans. Barely starfaring. Fragmented. Classifying them Tier 5 would be straightforward.
The Council majority expected this. Earth's resources and position were to be justification for a lower tier.
Standard procedure. Completed 1,000 times.
Almost immediately, the human embassy replied, "Records ready. Ambassador Kevin will deliver them personally." Zorath noted the promptness, but dismissed it. He did not yet know what he had invited across the Gulf of Stars. In the modest Earth embassy, Ambassador Kevin read the Council's demand. His expression remained utterly still.
So it's come. The predictable audit. They always find a reason.
From a hidden safe beneath a bookshelf, he withdrew a single crystal data shard. It glowed with dormant light.
4.2 million years in this sliver of glass. They could have let us be.
He placed the shard in a velvet-lined case and dictated a brief response. It was not a request for negotiation.
Come. I have what you need.
His gaze drifted to a child's drawing pinned to the wall, a spiral galaxy rendered in crayon, a reminder of the bigger picture.
We've hidden our light long enough. If they insist on truth, they will have it.
The embassy settled into silence. Kevin waited, the shard's weight as heavy as the eons it held. In the Grand Archive, the hourglass emptied another grain, unknowing that its very purpose was about to shatter. Auditor Zorath entered the human embassy. Its wood paneling and leather-bound books were quaint, almost archaic.
Auditor Zorath, thank you for coming personally. Our records are prepared.
I trust the process will be swift. Your cooperation is noted.
Kevin opened a velvet case. Within, a crystalline data shard glowed faintly, as if alive.
Our true history. We had hoped you wouldn't ask.
Dramatic, these humans, probably exaggerating their little millennia.
He took the shard. Its surface was cool, weight negligible, yet something in its gleam unsettled him.
Everything you need is there. Auditor. Verified. Unfiltered. Complete.
Another audit complete. The sooner filed, the sooner I can move on.
He departed with the shard in his robe. The ancient hourglass in the archive continued its final count. Back in his study, Zorath inserted the shard into the ancient reader. The device glowed with cyan light.
Typical. A few thousand years of recorded history at most. This will be straightforward.
The hourglass on his shelf continued to empty, its sapphire sands indifferent to his expectations. Then a system overlay appeared. Estimated decryption time, 3 days. Zorath's expression flickered with surprise.
3 days? Unusual for such a young species. Perhaps their data compression is primitive.
He dismissed the anomaly. The initial data was mundane, early spaceflight, resource wars, nothing beyond Tier 5.
I'll let the decryption run while I catch up on other reports. Standard protocol.
The shard pulsed softly in the reader, its deeper layers untouched. Zorath began his wait.
3 days, and Earth will be officially Tier 5. Just another footnote in the archive.
The hourglass sands fell faster now, as if the archive itself sensed that a truth too large to measure was beginning to unspool. The next day, Zorath checked the decryption. The data had unraveled far beyond geological ages.
10,000 years. Curious. Human civilization goes back further than their recorded histories suggested.
Then the timeline jumped 100,000 years. Zorath leaned in sharply.
Impossible. A planetary civilization lasting 100 millennia. No known species achieves that.
He ran diagnostics. No corruption. Cross-referenced with council databases. The data matched standard models.
Fabrication. They padded their history. Desperate species often do.
But the verification algorithms found zero anachronisms. Geological strata aligned with orbital decay records flawlessly.
100,000 years is a rounding error in cosmic terms. Perhaps they're simply older than we assumed.
He tried to rationalize, but the timeline didn't stop. It accelerated, each new epoch defying all precedent. Zorath's tea grew cold. For the first time in centuries, an audit refused to behave. By the second day, the decrypted timeline passed 1 million years. Zorath stared, unblinking, at the impossible figure.
Fraud. Elaborate, wild fraud. I must find the flaw, no matter how deep.
He opened a secure channel to a Silurian elder, a species that had watched stars birth and die, a whisper in the data stream.
I require discrete confirmation, an anomaly in human records. Is there any truth to extreme antiquity?
The reply came as a glowing crystal dropped into his palm, projected from the elder's seal. It pulsed with ancient agreement. The data aligns with our oldest guarded records. Humanity is not a child. It is the parent.
The Council. Barely 80,000 years. We are infants clutching at adult secrets.
The shard in the reader seemed to burn brighter, as if offended by his denial. Truth could not be unread. He severed the connection. The evidence was genuine, independently verifiable. Earth had been ancient when the Council was dust. The hourglass on his shelf had only a few grains left. They fell as silent judgment. The third day, the reader chimed completion. The final decrypted figure hung in the air, 4.2 million years of unbroken human civilization.
It can't. The Council's entire history is a moat next to that number.
Files unspooled. Earth was not humanity's homeworld, but a retreat from a galaxy they once administered.
They governed a galactic civilization before the Council existed. Before most species had language.
The Council, formed 80,000 years ago, was noted in the data as a young experiment, observed and gently left alone.
We are not the first. We are not even the second. We are a footnote in their long patience.
Zorath's hands shook, spilling tea across the desk. The Tier 5 classification form lay crumpled, besmirched.
How do I classify a civilization older than the Council? The tiers are meaningless.
He reread the migration records. Humanity had retreated to a blue planet to rest, not to evolve. The hourglass on his shelf stood empty, its sands spent. A new measure was needed. Zorath drifted through the station's corridors. Every plaque, every seal of the Council now seemed like the boast of a child.
80,000 years of law, and I was proud to serve. Proud to be a gatekeeper of insignificance.
He found himself before the Council's founding monument, a towering pillar listing the original signatories. So few, so young.
The founders believed they were the first. They built an empire on that lie, and I enforced it.
He retreated to the archive. The empty hourglass sat where he had left it, a monument to exhausted time.
I judged them. I, with my paltry eons of tradition, looked down on a species that had forgotten more than I ever knew.
He picked up the hourglass, the weight of it cold and useless. Its purpose was over, his purpose questionable.
The Council will demand the report. Tier 5. It's a joke. I am a joke.
He didn't return to his study. He walked the gardens until the artificial stars dimmed, untethered from all he once believed. The empty hourglass remained in the archive, a silent witness to the fall of certainties. Zorath returned to the Earth Embassy, the empty hourglass a weight on his soul. Kevin sat reading, unhurried as stone.
You knew what you gave me. 4.2 million years of hidden power, and you call it a courtesy.
Please, sit. Tea? It's a calming blend from the Himalayan valleys. You seem agitated.
Why hide? You could rule the galaxy as you once did. The Council is a plaything compared to your past.
We ruled once. It exhausted us. Now we prefer watching. The quiet is a kindness.
Kevin poured tea anyway. the steam rising between them like an offering of peace Zorath could not accept.
The Council sent me to brand you Tier 5, barely capable. You are the architects of galactic civilization.
And that rank suits us. We have been Tier 5 before, under older classifications. Titles don't alter truth.
My accusation died. This human isn't proud or ashamed. He is simply, maddeningly, at peace.
Kevin sipped his tea, the star chart on the wall reminding of a galaxy that had once been humanity's quiet garden. The gulf between them deepened. Kevin set down his cup and rose. "Let me show you something," he said, and led Zorath down a narrow hallway.
We keep this room for ourselves. A reminder of what we were and what we choose to be.
The room was small, lined with artifacts, a knight's helm, a philosopher's scroll, a crystalline star map of the old empire.
This map shows the boundaries of our old administration. We withdrew, but we never stopped watching.
The child's drawing in his office. It's not fantasy. It's memory. They remember the galaxy they shepherded.
We prevented 3 extinction-level events in your council's early years. Quietly. You never knew.
My entire purpose, classification, judgment, was built on the grace of giants who had already let us live.
We watch. We don't need to rule. The universe is a garden, not a throne.
Zorath's hands hung limp, the hourglass in his mind refilled, not with sand, but with a long, patient silence. Returning to the sitting room, the tea had gone cold, but Zorath no longer minded. The universe had just been rescaled. Zorath returned to his study. The shard's glow had faded, leaving only the cold weight of his duty.
The Tier 5 form lay on the desk, the check mark a brand on my conscience.
His hand hovered over the submission seal, then withdrew as if scorched.
I cannot. I will not be the instrument of this lie.
He opened a new document. The words came slowly, each one a step into the abyss.
Resignation. A word I never imagined using in 2,000 years of service.
The empty hourglass on the shelf was a silent witness. Its purpose ended. His about to.
The Council will call it treason, but filing that report would be the true betrayal.
He finished the draft. It was brief. He could not classify Earth. His office must be vacated.
Tomorrow, I face the Council. After, I must ask Kevin for asylum. There is no other path.
In the deep quiet of his study, Zorath stood alone, the resignation draft glowing on his desk.
I will say, Earth's age is not an error. It is the truth we have been too small to see.
He rehearsed the words, imagining the alien faces stiffening with shock, the collective intake of breath.
They will rage, demand my head, but the Silurian data will silence them, or damn me.
He picked up the empty hourglass. Tomorrow he would bring it, a prop for the final act.
After my speech, I will walk to the human embassy. I will kneel and ask for a home among the ancients.
He set his circlet beside the resignation. The gold felt heavier now, the weight of a life ending. He did not sleep. The station's night cycle hummed around him, the eve of his last day.
2,000 years of service. Tomorrow, I will trade it for a sliver of truth.
When the summons came, he rose with the stillness of a man who had already crossed the threshold. Before the council could assemble, Zorath returned to the Earth Embassy, the empty hourglass cradled in his arm, the resignation in his robe.
Ambassador, I do not come as an auditor. I come as a supplicant. I request asylum on Earth.
We knew you might. Welcome.
Kevin helped him rise and guided him to a chair. Tea was poured, the steam a silent gesture of acceptance.
A crushing weight lifted, yet beneath it, the terror of the unknown was a cold current.
You'll find Earth. Restful. Quiet. We have a place already prepared.
A document materialized from a drawer, the asylum agreement, already drafted, waiting.
They expected this. They expected me.
He signed with a hand that no longer trembled. The die was cast. The hourglass sat mute on the table as Kevin rose and said, "Now, go tell them the truth. We'll be here when you return." Zorath left the embassy. He had insisted on wearing his full ceremonial robe, though its significance was already ash.
I am a walking monument to a lie. The circlet should feel heavy, but it is lighter than the truth I carry.
He swept the empty hourglass from the shelf, cradling it in the crook of his arm. Its emptiness was louder than any sand.
This is the measure of my service. Empty. I will present it as my final audit.
He walked the long corridor to the council chamber. Acolytes and aides parted before him, reading his face and recoiling.
They sense it. The end of an era is a scent on the air. They don't know what I'll say, but they know it will change them.
The massive doors of the chamber stood before him, sealed with the council's seal, a gilded lie that had stood for 80 millennia. He placed his palm on the access stone. The doors groaned open, revealing the vast semicircular chamber, the assembled dignitaries.
The heart in my chest is not mine. It belongs to the truth now. Let them hear it.
He walked to the center of the floor, the hourglass a third presence. The council president's gavel hung poised. All voices fell silent. Zorath began. His voice, earned over millennia, carried to the farthest seats without amplification.
We were ordered to audit Earth. Find it Tier 5. The data refused.
A murmur rippled through the seated species. Some leaned forward, others bristled, their shock visible even across species.
Earth's verified civilizational continuity is 4.2 million years.
Disbelief erupted. A delegate shouted fraud. Another demanded verification. The president's gavel cracked.
Silurian elders confirm. The data is immaculate. Earth is not the youngest, it is the oldest.
He raised the empty hourglass, the crystal, catching the chamber's light like a dead star.
This was the measure of my audits. It is empty, as is our presumption.
The council erupted. Some stood, some covered their faces. A few sat motionless, stunned beyond speech. At the center, Zorath stood immobile, the hourglass a silent testament to the shattered order. The truth was out.
I cannot file the report. My office is hereby vacated. I resign.
He drew the official parchment from his robe and held it beside the empty hourglass.
This hourglass measured young civilizations. For Earth, it is empty. For the Council, it is a mirror.
Then, deliberately, he opened his fingers. The hourglass fell. It struck the stone floor with a crystalline scream, shattering into a constellation of dust. The fragments glowed for a heartbeat, then went dark like dying stars. From the shadowed archway, a calm figure stepped forward. Ambassador Kevin, hands at ease.
You kept your word, Auditor. Now, come.
Zorath took the offered hand, the grip firm and final, the first touch of a new world. Without a backward glance, Zorath followed Kevin out, the council's uproar receding like a tide from a new shore. The council chamber reeled. Shouts of "arrest him," "ward with," "verify the data." The president's gavel was lost in the din. Kevin paused at the archway, the uproar at his back. He turned, his voice cutting through like a blade of calm.
Earth will remain Tier 5. By our own request, the audit is concluded.
A shocked silence fell for a heartbeat, then renewed chaos, but no one dared follow. Kevin turned back and took Zorath's arm. Together they stepped through the archway, the light swallowing them. The massive doors groaned shut behind them, sealing the council's impotence in stone and silence. Inside the now empty chamber, the shattered hourglass fragments lay scattered, the council's order in ruins. Zorath walked with Kevin through the quiet corridor, his ceremonial robe suddenly heavy with the weight of a past life.
I wore this circlet as a mark of authority. Now it is a brand of a past I've burned.
Without a word, they continued toward the hangar, leaving the council to its own silence. The corridor was a long tunnel of silence, the only sound the scuff of Zorath's ceremonial slippers and Kevin's calm footsteps.
My throat is raw with unspoken screams. 2,000 years falling away with every step.
Zorath's foot caught, and he stumbled, his hand reaching for the wall. Kevin's hand was there, steadying him without a word, the grip as sure as a promise. They stopped. Zorath straightened, his gaze falling to the circlet on his brow. With a slow, deliberate motion, he lifted it from his head. The gold felt cold, a relic. He let it drop. It struck the floor with a thin, final clink, then lay still. Kevin watched, expression unreadable but gentle. No words needed. They continued, the fallen circlet receding into the dimness behind them. Ahead, the hangar bay lights glowed. As they approached the shuttle, Zorath felt a weightlessness, as if gravity itself had renegotiated its hold. They boarded the shuttle. Kevin moved to a small table where tea steamed. Zorath sat across from him. The engines hummed through the viewport. The council station began its slow retreat, a cold monument diminishing as the shuttle cleared the station's gravity. Earth swam into view, blue, serene, impossibly old.
There she is. Home, if you want it.
Zorath's mind fell silent. The weight of millennia met the stillness of a blue marble.
Kevin poured the tea, the gentle sound a counterpoint to the silence of space.
It's a calming blend from the Himalayan valleys. You seemed agitated earlier.
He had been agitated. Now he was empty, but the emptiness felt like a beginning.
They sat in quietude, two beings from different eons, sharing the stillness between stars. The shuttle sped on, the blue planet growing, the council light years away and already irrelevant. On the station, the council's holographic seal fractured. A crack ran like lightning through the ancient symbol. The chamber sat empty. The shattered hourglass fragments swept aside, a new silence where old power had been. Kevin's Earth embassy remained as it had always been. Small, warm, unchanged by revelation. On a green hill, Zorath stood in simple human clothes. A golden sunset flooded the valley, and he was still. In the archive, the old seal faded, replaced by a simpler spiral. Humanity's ancient mark quietly returned. Zorath's eyes, once wide with horror, now reflected the amber sky. The creases on his face had loosened.
I measured civilizations. Now I am measured by a sunset. It is enough.
Earth hung in space, blue and serene, its ancient light a quiet answer to every audit. The shuttle rested in a field below, its journey complete. Above, the first stars of evening appeared. Zorath turned from the sunset and walked down the hill, into the quiet of a world that had waited for him. The cottage door closed behind him, its worn wood solid under his palm. There was no circlet now, only the quiet creak of a human home. A single oil lamp burned on the table, its flame steady as a held breath. Zorath's shadow stretched long, swallowing the contours of a past life. Kevin entered without a sound, his hands carrying a copper kettle. He set it on the stove, the fire catching immediately, a new warmth spreading.
No audits tonight. Just stars and tea.
Zorath exhaled a long, ragged breath that felt like the first true oxygen in 2,000 years. His shoulders unclenched. The kettle began to sing, its steam coiling upward like a white nebula in the firelight. The silence was complete. Through the small pane, the night sky of Earth stretched infinite. Those stars had seen humanity rise and rest. In the distant archive, the spiral of humanity pulsed once, a quiet heartbeat across the void that no instrument would record. And in a cottage on a green hill, an ancient alien cradled a cup of tea, watching the stars he had once classified, now simply bright. The universe, for the first time in longer than any record, held its breath and was still. Zorath sat on the porch step, the wood still warm from the departed sun. A mug of tea rested beside him untouched as the sky deepened.
Back on the station, they'll be drafting a new classification. Probably Tier Infinity. It won't stick.
Perhaps they will learn, not to classify, but to see. It took me a shattered hourglass to understand.
Kevin said nothing more. He poured himself a cup and joined Zorath in the silence, the only sound the distant chirr of insects. Above them, the galaxy turned on its ancient wheel. Somewhere in its spiral arms, a council archive flickered and went dark. The old seal of the council, once unbroken, now rested in a forgotten data file under a new name, Pre-Human Experiment. Zorath smiled, a small, unfamiliar motion of muscles he had long neglected. As the last light left the valley, on the green hill the shuttle's hull cooled under a canopy of stars. The journey was over, The quiet had just begun. Kevin lifted his cup in a wordless toast to the stars, and Zorath, after a moment, did the same, 2 cups catching the moonlight. Somewhere in the stillness, a new story had begun, one that would never require an audit, only a quiet witness.